Are you filming it now?
Yeah, I messed it up, my bad. Let's try it again. There we go, that's in the key B minor.
It's kind of cool. We need some candles, maybe?
Maybe move the flame closer.
Shoving your face. Yeah, they can. Is that working?
It just looks really cool, but it's not really working.
It just looks like a glowing orb.
Yeah. So we can't get over
Pretty
how
cool,
cool.
but I don't think it's
Yeah, it's not really working.
Kind of does actually.
Okay, put that light back there.
I know, I love it. It's good. Sushi, it's been the production of the meal, the music.
Turn the light for a second.
A little bit behind them. Just put it on. I was thinking I'll send this. I was just doing off with that sometimes. You were just jamming.
I'm just some guy from Canada. I went to Houston on July 6th and I decided that I was going to hitchhike the States. So Houston sucked, went to Austin, hung out, went to this little town called Andrews in Texas. It was my last town in Texas, and I went to the 7-Eleven and I was hungry, so I went and shoplifted a Cliff Bar, and it was a sketchy steal. Like, it was a bad steal. So on my way out, I kind of felt uneasy about it, and I was walking down that street, and all of a sudden I hear big stomping footsteps behind me, and I look back, and this guy's like, "I saw you at that 7-Eleven," and I go, "Shit!" Like, I'm already like, I'm peeing a little already, and I'm like, "Oh, what?" And he's like, "Hey, you want work?" So this guy actually gets me to come help him jackhammer his cement in his garage and stuff for 10 bucks an hour. It was awesome. And we were hanging out that night. He turned out to be a really cool guy. His name was Dean King. And hanging out that night, he was telling me about how his dad just died and his whole family was kind of shooken up from that. And then we were talking about the weather, and it hadn't rained since September in Andrews, Texas. Since September. And I couldn't fathom that. I'm from Ontario, Canada, and it rains plenty there. and I just came from Costa Rica where it rained every single day, every single afternoon. And so we're talking about that, and then I do like this like cheesy little rain dance for him in his car. I was just kidding, and that night it fucking poured for the first time since September, and he told me I could never leave.
You ready? Okay, I'm Larry McNeil, originally from Boston, Massachusetts. Joined the Air Force in 1966. Was eventually stationed in Tripoli, Libya, with Armed Forces Radio and Television. The station in Tripoli at the Wheelus Air Force Base was the first Armed Forces radio and TV station in the world. And I was stationed there in 1969 when Muammar Gaddafi had the Libyan revolution. What happened was the king Idris, who was a Senussi, wanted to leave power, but he did not want to leave it to his son because his son was socialist. So he contrived a plan to go up to Turkey, take $30 million, and then have a parliamentary coup while he was gone. And this would then turn the country into a parliamentary democracy instead of a socialist dictatorship. So the coup was supposed to take place on September 15th, 1969, and everybody knew about it. Muammar Gaddafi staged a coup on September 2nd, 1969. Well, the time frame wasn't too serious, and they're never on time there anyway, so they thought, oh, it's a coup, it's a little bit early. So that was okay. So they let Gaddafi take over, and what he did is he took over the TV station downtown, in downtown Tripoli first, knowing that if you can tell people you're in power, because he had control of the news media. And so it was a bloodless coup, pretty much, and within 6 days he had established the Revolutionary Command Council, said he was in charge of Libya from then on, and for the past 40 years he has been the strong man in Libya. The people liked him because the king, King Idris, was taking the country in a more Western direction. They were going away from Islam and more toward a Western model of government and social action. In other words, they were having movies, you could dance with a woman, you could gamble and drink, and things like that. Now, while they enjoyed doing that, when Gaddafi took over, the first thing he did was ban alcohol and ban nightclubs and all that activity that had gone on with the king. And the people liked it. They liked Sharia law. They liked the fact that he was a conservative and took them back to Islam, took them back 2,000 years. And I talked with many people who said, while they felt sad, they would never be able to have a beer again, they were happy that they were able to follow Islam. And that was his real strength, was going back to his Islamic roots. People enjoyed that, and they loved him for that.
Hi, my name's Sundog, and here's my story. When I was a teenager in high school, I dropped out, hit the road, pawned my dad's TV, and headed west, out of New Hampshire. And I had an epic hitchhike trip cross country, stopped at the farm in Tennessee, went to some folk fest, got picked up by a Hare Krishna, went to Jerry's old house in San Francisco, and I basically became a road dog. It's what it's called, a Babylon dropout. You know, we call Babylon like the Tower of Babylon, the mentality that we would need to build a tower to get closer to God. So pretty much Babylon is a culture disconnected from God or spirit. So we're refugees out of Babylon, all of us road dog kids. And I road dogged it for about 6 or 8 years, all around the country, hitchhiking, driving in magic school buses. Hitchhiking was my fave because it's really about destiny, you know? Like hitchhiking without a destination is like magical. Get to meet people, and that's what a lot of us want to do, is just promote peace by meeting each other and connecting. So I traveled, and then it was the 30th anniversary of the Summer of Love, and some kids put a huge tripod up in Golden Gate Park at a big peace fest, a free peace fest. And I came up here to Weot territory in Northern California, in Humboldt. It's now known as Humboldt, to join Earth First and save the trees. And that was the summer of '97. And there was a lot of kids in town, in the county, here to save trees and here to unite with other refugees out of Babylon to call an end to destruction of Mother Earth. And that's what I think a lot about what my generation is raised on and what we're about. And you know, we were raised with recycling in the schools and you know, to not be racist and things like that. Our generation has a lot of heart, and so I gave it all to the movement. I gave years and years of my life to the movement, traveling, hitchhiking. I'd hitchhike up to Montana every year to work with the Buffalo Field Campaign, which is a peace organization to save the last wild buffalo from the hands of the Department of Livestock and federal government of Montana. So I hitchhiked, peace activism, native sovereignty, peace movement, connecting with elders, and that's how my life went for quite a few years. And then I met my wife, my now wife. Her name's Amber in Montana, doing peace activism, and we moved to California, to Northern California, in this area, just to harvest seaweed, because we met somebody, and we didn't really move here, we just traveled here, you know, and we got pregnant right away. And this was in Mendocino County, in the county south. And then we had our baby at home, little home birth in a little hut on the side of a mountain. We named it Cove. And then we traveled, and then we got pregnant again, and we settled down again and had another little baby, and a few months later we hit the road to Mexico. And we traveled more, and we traveled more and more, and my wife couldn't take it anymore, God bless her soul. She made us settle down. So we settled down here in Arcata, California. We got territory. And that was 5 years ago, like just last week, because my son just turned 6. So we settled down here when my sons were 2.5 and 1.
Okay. I'm from Vermont, and I came here because I heard this is a place to make some money. And my story of how I came here is I fell in love with this girl, and I went back to where I'm from in Vermont, and I sold all my stuff. I sold my car, my business of making t-shirts, and then everything else that I had, basically, that I couldn't fit in a backpack. And then I went back to Costa Rica to meet up with this girl, like on a whim, like not really having, like, it wasn't a sure thing at all. It was like the opposite of a sure thing. And then it didn't really work out the way I had hoped, which wasn't very surprising, but I just went anyway along the way. And then I worked there for a while, and I came here because I know that hopefully I'm going to make some money here, like, as opposed to any other place, doing something that I really like doing. So now I'm here, and yeah, I'm here. And
So, how long are you gonna be here?
I'm gonna be here till November, or till I start making money. I'm gonna work for as long and as hard as I possibly can. You know what I mean?
What are you gonna save up for?
My next adventure, which I don't know what necessarily that will be.
Any ideas?
Yeah, many ideas. Like, one idea was to buy a boat and just paint it like some psychedelic crazy colors and go from coast to coast and just have fun doing that. Other ideas have been going a variety of other places, like Australia or Hawaii, or just somewhere cool. It's near the beach and you can go surfing and shit. So those are basically somewhere nice beach where you can go surfing.
So later on, I was talking with him and his cousin one night. They were telling stories about how they used to drive in a truck and lasso mailboxes and then just like fall down, and the truck would keep driving and rip the mailbox out of the ground, and just funny shit that they used to do when they were kids. And this topic got back onto his father and how his father died from a complication with the pharmaceutical drugs he was taking. He was taking these pharmaceutical drugs because he had rheumatoid arthritis, and I didn't really think much about it, but earlier this year I did a project on fluoride, a big paper on fluoride, and how fluoride can give you rheumatoid arthritis. That's one of its biggest problems, is arthritis and fluorosis. And when I walked around that town, I could see people with spots on their teeth, like dark brown spots, and then their cousin was telling me that this town has natural fluoride in the groundwater, and the government was putting a lot of fluoride in the water, so everybody got fluorosis. And then I put all these pieces together, and Dean's father got rheumatoid arthritis probably from an overdose of fluoride every single day, and it actually ended up, in a funny way, it killed him. Fluoride killed Dean's father. And so after all these projects, I get pretty angry about the US and my country putting fluoride in the water when we don't really need it. And so I was pretty angry about that, but I didn't really feel it like I felt it then. You know, their family was crying. They were drunk. Like one night I made them dinner, my last night there, and one of them got drunk and passed out before dinner even started. And you know, I've never actually been able to really feel and empathize something like that, you know, happening from something like fluoride. So it was good to put myself in those shoes.
Well, we were evacuating the base. As soon as he took over Libya, he immediately said the United States Air Force Base has to go. And so we took our own sweet time. It took about 9 months to leave the country. But I was able to go in February. The revolution was September. I left the country in February, although I would have stayed longer had I been able to. And then I decided to go to college at the University of San Francisco. So I went to San Francisco for college, got a job with IBM. It became a computer geek, computer tech, and got married, had a family in San Francisco, had 3 kids there, had the opportunity to move to Eureka, and had 3 more kids, and got established up here and found a real home in Humboldt County. It's a beautiful place, a good place to raise children. Well, I love Humboldt County primarily because it doesn't snow. It snows all the time in Boston, so that's why I don't live there. It's much nicer to live here. The weather is wonderful, the people are good, the people are very friendly here. I think that people hear about Humboldt County through the drugs, the marijuana and things like that. That's the thing for which we're most famous. But the people here really are good. I mean, there are drugs, but there are drugs everywhere. And so being aware and trying to make that situation better for my children has been my goal. And so I like the people here. I like the atmosphere. And Eureka itself, I think, is much, has many more amenities than a city of its size should have, because in fact, Eureka is the only city of any size really on the coast between San Francisco and the Canadian border. I mean, there really isn't anything else. Seattle is up there, but it isn't on the coast. And so Eureka has a university. It's pretty influential in the government, and I think the government of California. And so I think living here, there's a lot of art, a lot of culture, wonderful people, educational facilities with College of the Redwoods at Humboldt State. So there's a lot of value living here, and I enjoy it immensely.
And we've been here ever since. We've lived in like a few different little apartments, at the Salmon House, and then a duplex, and then this other house. And then 5 years later, after working our arses off real hard, Amber, my wife, has a house cleaning business, and I do handyman work and peace consulting, which I'll explain to you in a minute. And we bought our dream house, and we live here, and we're raising our kids in what we think is the best school in the whole world. It's called Laurel Tree Learning Center. And so we settled down here basically because my wife's sister, her twin sister, was going to school at HSU, so we came here. And then we lived out of our truck and finally got that first place. So we're here. We bought our house here. We're here, and in this Arcata area, all the way from Little River to the north to the Eel River in the south, inward to Berry Summit, is Wiyot territory, traditional Wiyot territory. And that's the main focus of my peace consulting firm, Integral Peace Consulting, is we help people connect with their local Native Nation, and we work in cross-cultural healing, ecoffication, and peace prayers is what we help offer support and guidance with. And so I've matured my peace activism, road dog peace activist kid, into a father of two with a peace consulting firm that's struggling to make it, but I have a few clients that seem like they're very interested, and I'm offering a service of helping people connect with their local Native Nation of where they are and where they do business, which is something that seems to be on everybody's heart, a little bit at least, you know, I think. So that's what I do. That's how I got here.
I'll tell you a story of I banged a 51-year-old chick when I was like 20 or 21 or say, and I'll tell the story of that. Like, I was like, this girl broke up with me, and I was really broken up about it. I was like I was in a shitty place in my life. So I went on this website and I met, and then I just posted what was like wrong with me basically. And then I got this phone call from this like really hot Australian chick, and I talked with her for a little bit. And then I ended up driving up to this place where I had no idea where it was, or I thought maybe like serial killers are waiting for me to fucking slaughter me and bury me in their backyard or something in the back of my mind, but I still kept going anyway. And then I finally got there, and it was sort of weird. And then I was sitting in their living room, and I had some really good weed, so I smoked that with them. And they were cool. It was like a woman and a man there, and it was sort of weird, cause semi-knowing what they had asked in the ad, they were like, he wanted like the guy is the one who posted the ad like to watch a dude bang his wife or something, or his girlfriend. Only what they had said as far as a girlfriend. So I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And I smoked some weed, and then he went away, and I like started eating her pussy in the living room or whatever. And then he didn't come back, or he did come back, but he shied away or something. And then I went, and she's like, oh, she's just going to the bedroom, and I I banged her in the bedroom, and like he wanted to come in and watch, cause he kind of asked that earlier in the room. He's like, oh, do you know why like I would want to watch? And like I was just like, yeah, sure, dude, I totally know why you want to watch, even though I didn't know what the fuck his deal was. But so that was going on, and then he wanted to come in there, but I told him that I just said some bullshit shit, like saying that like I couldn't get my dick hard unless he was not in there or something. So then I just banged her in there, and then left and went into the other room, and he was like, oh, like he was kind of bitter at this point, and he was like, oh, you know I'd want to watch my wife get banged by some dude, right? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And I just left. It's kind of into that story. Like, it was a shitty story.
After Texas, I went to New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, and then, so Arizona, I was hitchhiking in this place called Seligman, and that's where old Highway 66 apparently is, and there's all these like cheesy, like Elvis is like sitting in a Camaro and some shit, Marilyn Monroe's like playing with her dress or whatever that bullshit is, and so there's a bunch of tourists in that town. I couldn't get a ride for 4.5 hours. So I start walking the freeway after cops threaten me that if they see me again, they're gonna give me a fine or whatever, and it was the worst day ever. And finally this guy picks me up on his 73 motorcycle, 73 Honda motorcycle. It's tiny, it's like that skinny, and he already had 70-pound backpack strapped to the back of it, and so I get on with my like 50-pound back, so that's like another 210 pounds on this tiny little motorcycle, and he's kind of uneasy about it, but every 50 miles we take a break and we get off because we can't feel our nuts anymore, and as long as we move every 50 miles or so, it's okay. So we're riding, and I get to see the Nevada sunset, and then we go over this hill, and I see the sea of lights that they call Vegas. It was absolutely incredible. So we passed the Hoover Dam, and we hit the freeway, which is 6 lanes of cars going west together, not like 3 and 3, like 6 lanes moving together. And we're just this little motorcycle amongst 6 lanes of cars. And so the pavement gets kind of grooved, like they're working on it, and all of a sudden, with no warning, the bike starts fishtailing. And I've been fishtailing in a car before, and this is nothing like fishtailing in a car. My fucking bare knees are sticking out the sides, and I just clutched that motherfucker. Just like, I don't want to die, and I'm trying to like right the bike and make sure that we don't fall over, and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He slows down a little. He thinks it's because of the groove pavement. So he speeds up again, and literally we know the tire underneath my ass had popped, and it was flat. And he speeds up again, and we fishtail like crazy. Finally, we go 2 sideways, and we fall. Luckily, he's wearing a suit. He falls. I fall half on him. Bike falls on my leg. We skid. I get this, like, that's all I have really right there is like some nasty burns. And so we skid for a little. We come to a stop. I look behind me. Cars squeal. We get missed by about, I don't know, 3 feet by about 3 cars that totally could have killed us. We totally should have died. I say, are you all right? He says, yeah, are you all right? I say, let's get the fuck off the road. And he picks up the bike and starts walking.
Yeah, well, as I say, you know, when I lived in San Francisco, I would miss maybe 10 cultural events a night. And here I miss maybe 2 or 3 a week. So you just can't go to everything. Yes, San Francisco does offer a lot, but I am amazed at the things that are offered here. For instance, the Humboldt Light Opera Company, excellent. The cultural performances, the art exhibits that we have here are just really amazing, amazingly good. In fact, I was in the Nutcracker Ballet for about 20 years here in Humboldt County. It was presented at Humboldt State University. Now, I don't do ballet, but the director of the ballet wanted the dads and brothers and boyfriends of the girls who do the ballet to be involved, you know, to make the Nutcracker Ballet much more real. So I don't think in San Francisco that opportunity ever would have happened. And yet the presentation here in Humboldt County was really excellent, and part of it was there were real people really performing, you know, from the bottom of their heart. And so that kind of thing, that kind of opportunity would never have happened in Boston or San Francisco or New York, but here in Humboldt County, we got to do it, and there are many of us who got to do that, and what a wonderful experience. And an excellent performance, really high quality.
Well, you know, our reality is what we make of it. So right now, what's in my reality is the Wiyot Nation. You know, the native people of this area, this Humboldt Bay, which is called Wiki. It's a very sacred land. Everybody that comes here can just feel it. And this is some of my ideas, is that 100 years ago, there was a ceremony going on Indian Island in the center of the bay. And it's called the World Renewal Ceremony. It's a 10-day ceremony of world renewal. And the different tribes around here share the same religion philosophy. They have different culture, language, everything, but they live near each other and they come together for this sacred religion of world renewal. And this 10-day world renewal was on day number 9. And then the Indian Island Massacre happened 100 years ago, where the forefathers of this town rode out, and like the sheriff and probably the mayor, who knows, rows down their boats and kills all the women and children with clubs. Right there. There's probably Indian people hung right here, for sure on the plaza. There are many, many Indian people hung on the plaza, on the porch of Jacoby Creek store. So the atrocity is so real. And the meaning of it is the healing. All tribulations are meant for healing quality and for growth of our species, of our spiritual nature. So here in Wiyot territory, the Wiyot people are very kind and very generous with their openness, where they've allowed me to come and work in their heritage garden and their farm. And they're hosting a feast, like I said, next month, open to all people. So there's this world epiphany healing vibration that's on hold. Right now it's still day 9 in that 100-year-old ceremony, and it needs to be finished as soon as possible. And the ceremony is so beautiful and so potent that healers of the world, multicultural healers of the world, have been called here to Humboldt Bay, to Wiki, to Wiyot territory, I believe, to help bring that world renewal ceremony alive again in Wiyot territory, to support it, and to basically reinvent the peace movement for a quick 1-2, and to switch from triangular capitalism, where we all work together and just a few at the top get the big meat, to circular capitalism, where we all share together. Circular capitalism is one of the peace projects I promote. The University of Peace is another project I promote, to train people with degrees to help develop a Department of Peace for the country, where we'll split the defense budget in half and give one to the warmongers, half, and one half to the Department of Peace, so that we can financially back the peace movement that I promote, and that we all promote, and that we all believe we were born in the here and now to proceed with. And so here in Arcata and Humboldt, there's a lot of people that are very active and coming together, whether they know it or not, to fulfill the prophecy of all people on earth coming together in peace and harmony. And the Wiyot people are tremendously kind and gracious hosts for such a spiritual, beautiful thing to happen.
You went to Costa Rica for a girl on a whim?
Oh man, yeah.
How'd you meet her?
I met her 2 days. I met her in the last 2 days that I was there. And like when I met her, I was really, really, really drunk. Then I talked to her like till 5 in the morning. And I was so inspired by meeting her that I was like, I have to make myself better, you know? And So I did push-ups next to my tent till I just passed out. So the next day, I like woke up like in the field kind of thing next to my tent, and I was still on the same page of like I have to make everything better. So I stopped smoking cigarettes. Like at that point I was like, I'm quitting smoking cigarettes forever. I love this girl. Like I'm quitting everything forever that doesn't help me get with her, kind of thing, you know? So like I stopped doing that, and then I like that whole day I was like straight as an arrow. And like my favorite drink is whiskey, like drinking whiskey straight, nothing better. And also hers. And all her zodiac signs are the opposite of my zodiac signs. Like I'm Cancer, she's Capricorn. My moon sign is Sagittarius, hers is Gemini, the opposite of Sagittarius. And like so on down the line, like all the planets are opposite, like all are opposite planets. Like the odds of meeting someone like that are really, really slim. So anyway, I completely quit smoking, and I stopped drinking for the day. Did the best I could, got a bottle of whiskey, and then we had like really good night of like I did a lot of rituals and shit, and we did some cool shit, and then, you know, I just hung out with her that night. I didn't bang her or nothing, you know, which is nice because it's different to hang out with someone not banging them, just hanging out with them. Like for me, it was enough to just be next to her, like feel her energy coming off her and feeding me, sort of. It's like it's a different sort of feeling. Maybe you know what I mean, or maybe you don't, I don't know. But it was just enough to be next to her. I didn't need anything more than that. And then that next day, I had to go back to Vermont, and I left all that shit.
And I start walking too, but then I look back, and the only thing that had broken on the bike or on us, the only bone that had broken was a deer skull. The jaw of it had broken into 2 pieces, so here it is. He gave me half of it. Here's half the jaw. And I picked that off the road before any cars could hit it. And a fire truck had seen the whole thing happen, and it pulled up and sort of like put on its lights and shut down traffic for a little bit, came over and checked us out and said, "Why aren't you dead?" And which was amazing feeling, first of all. And at the bottom of the freeway was a tire store. So all we did was walk the bike to the bottom of the exit, locked it at the tire store, and said, "What the fuck are we gonna do now?" I was looking for a buddy's place on the Strip on Las Vegas Boulevard, and we were miles and miles from that, and all we could do was walk. We couldn't see a bus, and we didn't have money for a taxi or anything like that. And now we were just stinky bums, right? Like he's got this like mullety haircut that's kind of like a mohawk, and we're stinky. We got like tears in our clothes, and we're holding 2 bike helmets with giant backpacks on, and in the middle of a city. You know, no one's gonna help us in the middle of a city. And we finished the sentence of, now we're never gonna get a ride. We're just bums with a bike. What the fuck are we gonna do now? I need a ride. And we literally look up and across the street as the car stopped and said, this guy named Julian who said, you look like you need a ride. And he had tattoos from face to toe. He had one tattoo that said NAR, the other said crazy on his forearms. That was pretty cool. And he found us a place to stay for the night, and we slept soundly when we should have been dead. It was pretty cool. And then I hitchhiked to Yosemite, hiked around, and now I'm here in Arcata.
How long do you plan to stay here?
Probably the next 14, 16 hours till I get a job trimming.
In this area?
Yeah, probably around here.
Well, there are a lot of homeless here, but then there are homeless everywhere. I've been in Boston and San Francisco and New York, and I've seen the homeless Seattle. They're everywhere. I think that I would like to see more care given to the homeless people. They're human beings, for heaven's sake. You know, I mean, we should really be concerned about each other. And I see here some charity, some good people who want to try to be good to those who are a little less fortunate than we are. For instance, I go to church at St. Bernard's in Eureka. It's like a downtown church. And there are always homeless people who are coming to the church during a service just to get warm or a place to sit while the church is open. Well, I have seen those parishioners who could be uppity and say, get out of my church and quit bothering me. Instead, they welcome them. They try to do what they can for those people, give them the warmth and concern they can, for whatever time they have, without being taken advantage of particularly. The pastor, this is odd, has a couple of rugs on a couple of covered walkways where they allow people to sleep. It isn't much, but it's at least something for these people to be able to sleep on a small rug under a cover, and when it rains or gets cold, that's something. Of course, they have to be gone when people are around. It isn't, come here and take advantage of us, but the church says, yes, you're a human being, and we should at least give you the least a bit of dignity we can give you. And I think that's true too. I'd like to see something like a MAC center, a multiple assistance center for the homeless created around here. They've tried that, but of course it didn't work out because many homeless are just not socially adept, and which is why they're out on the street, in a lot of the cases. So it's difficult to create a situation where they're going to be okay. That takes a lot of educational and a lot of cultural enrichment. But I like it here because, for the most part, the people try to do what they can for those who are less fortunate. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that we shouldn't require people to appreciate what we do. I don't think that's our role. Our role is to try to help as much as we can. And if people appreciate it, that's fine. But that shouldn't be a requirement. The requirement should just be that people can live, that they can survive, they can have something to eat, that they can find a place to lay their heads at night. And whether they appreciate it or not is really neither here nor there. It's just our job to be as kind as we can, without, of course, sacrificing ourselves. And that can be a problem. I mean, when I do things, I sometimes expect to be taken advantage of. To a certain extent, I'm willing to risk that. That's okay. But I should not expect deep gratitude. I mean, I have 6 kids. I know what it's like to do things for people who don't seem to appreciate it, but we have to do those things anyway. No, I'm kidding. No, my kids really do appreciate it, but no, that shouldn't be an expectation. We should just, frankly, in Christian charity, take care of each other.
I'm going to come in here and step in and say, this man helped me when I was homeless on the street, and the church that he was talking about helped me a lot too. And I would not be here today had it not been for my good friend Larry, who not only gave kindness and gave of himself, but also just was there. And you're a great friend, Larry.
Well, you're a good friend. I appreciate you too.
That was a lot, huh? I've been practicing a lot lately because the peace consulting firm is just taking off. I need to get investors, I need a website, a card. I'm having all these sporadic meetings with people. Like I just met with a staff director of HSU. I picked the guy up hitchhiking. He had white hair and like a full business suit, and he's like this, and I'm like, and then I just talked his ear off. It's happening. The peace movement's right now. We're flipping the peace sign around to its original upward facing rune. It's an ancient rune of our ancient druid people called alges, and it means upward, like this is the symbol of connectedness to God and goodness. And when it's upside down, like the elders have been flying the peace sign for a generation, means confusion and disconnection from God. And our elders needed to go there, but our generation is stepping up to something new. And this is one way that we're proving it. We're flipping the peace sign around to an upward facing tree of life symbol, because we are the tree of life people. And the 2-fingered peace sign is now the 3-fingered peace sign. So if you can spread the word about that, that's another one of our peace projects. Another one of our peace projects that's multi-crucial with the steps. Should I lay out the steps for peace on earth real quick? There's this law that the Pope made in 1493. It's called the Divini Incarte Papal Bull of 1493. And when Chris Columbus came back, he told him about the problem. Pope wrote it up. It's okay to steal land from brown people because they're not real people. This is what the law says, I joke you not. And the elders of the sovereignty movement have keyed me in on this. Hey, look, there's this law in the Vatican, that's world law. You guys should take that off the book, So I promote that we take it off the book to reverse racism. Laws are powerful. Written law of the Pope, we need to repeal that law as a people. Our generation, our people, we need to stamp, take that law off the books, demand it. Maybe we go, meet at the Vatican, whatever. Get that law taken out, and then have basically reassess what happened on this continent in the last 500 years. Slavery and genocide to steal the continent. Both. Wrong, wrong. Illegal, illegal, right? Are we going to live with it forever? Are we going to live with the shadow of shame forever? No. Our African brothers and sisters don't want it. Our native brothers and sisters don't want it. And we don't want it either, because our generation has awoken to a spiritual energy that pervades all space and time, with the knowledge that we're all related. We're all cousins. We're all brothers and sisters. We all come from the same source. I call that source love. I think that's a good name for it. So what we need to do is repeal the Papal Bull of 1493, and then through our local recognizing the sovereignty of native nations, we enact a recognizing of sovereignty that will basically empower native nations and their traditional homeland. And then we'll look at the country and say, well, there's no more white power. That was all illegal. Now we have traditional territories: Lakota, Yurok, Tanimnoque, Wiyot. And when we're in that territory, we introduce ourselves. We say, thank you, I'm sorry for what happened, and how can I support your sovereignty, like every guest should. We become an honorable people within our generation, so that my little children don't have to grow up thinking that their white people are bad, that their white people are unhonorable people, because we're not. And just because the tip of the triangular capitalism has enslaved, they have this sickness, it doesn't mean that all of us that came over on boats are bad people. We need a big healing. And that's what Integral Peace Consulting offers, is cross-cultural healing, big healing, huge healing that's been prophesized of, that's going to make a ripple all over the world and engulf everybody's consciousness, where we can happily switch very quickly to circular capitalism. we can happily switch to sovereign, native, spiritual, grassroots leadership because that's what we want to do. So we're going to do it now because we can. And that's what we're going to do. So send your donations on down to Integral Peace Consulting. Right now I'm struggling a few hours here and a few hours there because it's hard being a father, you know, in the economic bracket that my family is in, that my family's been in for 1,000 generations. It's not easy. That's why we need big bucks. We need it now, and we need to move forward. I need the salary for 100 people. 1 year. That's all I need. Comfortable salary, 100 people, including my Lakota mother, my Cheyenne father, and people in my crew, artists, web designers, permaculturists, botanists, midwives, herbalists, and we're here now, and so many people of like-mindedness to myself have come to Humboldt County and have come to Wiyot territory because birds of a feather flock together. We're here, and you know, a lot of it came out of San Francisco in the 60s. You know, a lot of it came from Seattle in the 60s. And we're here in this beautiful territory. And it's 2011. You know, our Mayan elders to the south prophesized big change for all human beings on December 21st, 2012. So I promote everybody to not stand around with their hands in their pocket. I promote everybody to do, you know, what you're doing, you know, and get out and fulfill your life calling, because if we're all shooting stars, we got to do it before we burn out. There's no time like the present to fulfill our life calling. And so that's what I'm doing every second, trying my best to best it out and represent myself and who I am and what I present. And everybody should do that. Think about it. What do you bring to the peace movement? It's now or never, maybe. All right.
And then I was in Florida for a couple days before I went back to Vermont. And in that time I realized I needed to sell all my worldly belongings, you know, like I needed to sell everything and get back to where I was at. You know, not have anything tie me down in some other place, just be exactly where you were at then and not have anything behind you. So I went back and I sold everything, and then I lent all that money out basically, and I went back to Costa Rica with nothing again. Like I had like $40 maybe, and then I stayed there for another, and I met back up with her, and me stupidly I got really fucking drunk on whiskey and just like confessed my undying love, and she was kind of like it's a little much to handle, you know, and basically butt fucked all my chances. And then I just stayed there for a while. Now I'm here trying to make some money to keep going. So that's where I'm at. Just make money to keep going.
Do you still like her? Or love her?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like, I thought she was my soulmate because of the zodiac shit. But I don't even know anymore, man. Like, the more I think I know, the more I don't know. And I thought I knew, but now I really fucking don't know. So I'm kind of just going with the flow, you know, of the universe, and I know that it won't steer me wrong. Or can't steer me wrong, really.
How can you be so sure? What makes you think that?
As sure as the stars or the moon is, that's how sure I am. Like, we're all here for some reason, and that's why I'm sure. Because we wouldn't be here if we weren't here. You know what I mean? we all must be going towards somewhere, even though we don't know where that is.
Are you excited for what's to come?
Of course, yeah, I'm really excited, man. Like, you never know what is gonna come the next day, or the day after that, or the day after that. You never know where you're gonna be or what you're gonna be doing. And that's so valuable of a thing. I hope I meet up with her again, maybe. Or maybe she wasn't really... I feel like whatever is meant to happen will happen, you know? Like, if she was really my soulmate, then she's gonna come into my life again. In a different way, maybe. And if she wasn't, then she won't. But I feel like she'll be in my life again sometime. And like, that's part of hope versus hopelessness, you know? That's why I have hope.
Yeah, you do something real quick. It's a key of D.
Dang.
Yeah, dude.
That was good.